What's up, guys? Welcome to the Think Computers, a weekly tech podcast, and we're at a milestone today. We're on episode 100, and I can't believe we've been doing this podcast for 100 episodes. With me, as always, I have Derek. What's up, Derek?
What's up, Bob? I can't believe we made it to 100 either. I figured I would have quit by now.
Really? It's that bad?
It's horrible, dude.
Come on, you love talking about tech. And...
Yeah, but I have to talk to you.
Ah, that's true. I mean, yeah, I really don't know much about computers, so...
No.
But you teach me things. So you're like my teacher. So I learn a lot.
100 episodes of learning for Bob.
Yes, I've learned so much.
A lot of learning for us, though. This has been a bit of a struggle along the way, but I think we do fairly good now.
Yeah, well, no, I think it's too is I think we learned a lot about tech and things that are going on. I mean, because if we don't do the podcast, it's sometimes we just see news and skim over it, but here we actually get to kind of dive in and talk about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of cool. And like you always say, I know you don't as much like you want to pretend like you don't like doing the podcast. You love to geek out and talk about tech. So
yeah, it's a good excuse to like actually spend the time doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So as always, guys, this episode is brought to you by Amazon. If you go to thinkcomputers.org/Amazon and help and purchase something that helps us out, and hopefully we'll get to another 100 episodes after this one. So, we will start with our reviews this week, and 3 really cool products this week. So, we'll first start out with the Patriot Hellfire PCI Express M.2 solid-state drive. I love these things, man. These are like, I remember when SSDs came on the scene, like the original 2.5-inch SSDs. These are just so fast. It's like, I don't know why you're getting a 2.5-inch SSD. If you have a PC that has a PCI Express 3.0 X4 M.2 slot, you should get one of these, at least for your OS drive. I mean, they're just so fast.
Yeah.
So this was from Patriot, and it's based on the Phison E7 NVMe controller. And currently they're offering it in 240 and 480 gig versions, and the speeds that they say is 3,000 megabytes a second and 2,400 megabytes a second. So that's 3,000 read, 2,400 write. Super fast.
Yeah.
It performed quite well. It does have issues, and a lot of these drives do have certain issues when it comes to caching and things like that. I think when it comes to SSDs these days, we're just kind of, it's expected. All of these SSDs use a cache chip, which caches the data, and then if you're doing long writes with these consumer drives, your performance is going to drop off.
Yeah, overfill the cache.
Yeah, and if you are somebody who's doing long writes, they do make enterprise-based SSDs that don't have that problem. But they're highly expensive, and
you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, but again, most consumers, like what you and I do, or anybody, you're not doing long writes to your drive. You're really not.
Yeah. Even game installs aren't really considered long writes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
you
a
have
long.
To be doing what, like giant file transfers?
Yeah, giant file transfers, and even if you're doing a bunch of like 1 gig files, that's fine because it's gonna, after each one, it's gonna
break it down.
Yeah, but if you're doing like long sustained writes, that's when you'll see the drive, just like it just degrades, the performance degrades. But I think this drive is really great. This is Patriot's first NVMe PCI Express SSD, and they've done a really great job. And it doesn't have the issue. Most of the Phison based drives, they don't have a issue with power throttling because of heat, so that's good.
Yeah.
So this doesn't come with a heatsink on it or anything like that.
Just sort of lame because it doesn't look as cool.
Yeah, I think like that's the thing. It's like we want you to have the heat issue so you can put a cool heatsink on it.
In fact, you can just put one on. You don't need to have a heat issue.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a thing. I think that a lot of these first generation ones are just trying to get out there. Yeah. And see how it does, and I think the second generation we'll see a lot of cool heat sinks and things because that's what this is going on your motherboard, so you want to see it and you want to because all it has is a sticker on it, which isn't that cool, I would say.
No.
Yeah.
No, it actually I don't know. I don't like anything with just the sticker.
Yeah. So if SSD manufacturers, if you're listening, put something cool on the top there, a little piece of aluminum with maybe your logo and something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
It's like RAM used to always ship with just the sticker on it,
Yeah, and now we have crazy heat sinks.
You gotta have that crazy heat spreader.
Yeah. What are we going to see it by next year? Are we going to see M.2s with RGBs on?
Even better.
that we can control and match it with everything else in our system.
I want a display on my M.2.
Yeah, to show you its current
LCD.
speed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, its current speed
really
and temperature.
Cool idea.
That is a super cool idea, actually.
Patent. I said that here. I don't know if I can make money off that just by saying that. Probably not.
I don't think anybody. The costs associated with doing that, as far as bringing it down to the consumer, would be like so much more, and nobody would buy it. I don't think.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but it would be super cool to show that, like, to show your active speeds and your temperatures all on the display. That obviously, if you had a window in your system, you could see it. That'd be
all
so
these
sweet.
Tempered glass cases, this is the one thing that it displays perfectly, horizontal with or parallel with the panel, so you're gonna see straight at it.
Exactly.
Unlike all these the water blocks on your GPU, you don't see any of that stuff. We put money into it, but this you would totally see.
Yeah, it's a very good idea.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, you should do it. Get on that.
I'm gonna totally do it.
We'll review it on Think Computers.
Okay. This thing doesn't work at all.
Yeah, but no, this drive from Patriot is really good. If you're looking, there's a bunch of drives that are based off the Phison E7 controller. The only thing that is kind of weird about this one is it only has a 3-year warranty. So there's other drives, like there's a Corsair drive that based on the same thing that has a 5-year. So it's something you might want to think about.
Mm-hmm. I would say associate that more with the fact that this is Patriot's first, and they're probably worried that it's going to have a higher failure rate.
Yeah, and it is it's affordable. So 480 gigs, $239.99, not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Although, it's basically just OS or game drive, but it's still not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, or it could be like a scratch disk for if you're doing video editing. I mean, that would obviously speed things up, especially if you're dealing with 4K content. So, so really cool with that. So that was our first review, and then secondly, Derek has been in the process of moving, so he hasn't been doing reviews. So Fractal Design reached out to us, and they launched a new series of all-in-one liquid coolers called the Celsius series. And I took a look at the Celsius S24, and that is the 240 millimeter radiator version. So they have an S24 and an S36. So 24 is 240 millimeter, the 36 is 360 millimeter. And this is a pretty cool little all-in-one unit. They had some unique stuff, which I talked to you about previously on this. First is that there's real fittings on this, which is kind of weird. Real metal,
weird, but it's really nice.
Yeah, real metal fittings on both the connections to the pump block and then the connections to the radiator. And it's weird. It was weird to see when I opened it up. I was like, these are real fittings. But one thing that those fittings do provide is that you can actually add to this loop if you wanted to. You can take it apart and you can add in something. I wouldn't suggest it. I don't think you would either.
It'd be difficult to fill, I think, to really get the air purged out. But I think that it offers a unique opportunity to actually, more importantly, adding items to it. It's probably pushing the pump's capacity or capabilities, Yeah. But more important to me is that it allows you to do custom tube lengths, which is the biggest deal, Yeah. Because oftentimes the tubes are too short, or I don't want to say they're too long, but you don't need all that tubing, so you just kind of have clutter. So, and you can run one of the tubes longer than the other because that's usually the case,
Yeah.
Because of the way they bend inside a case, so you can actually really clean up your build by doing some custom tubing, and you can do all sorts of different colored tubing now. And really, if you wanted to, you could do hard tubing with this as well.
And I mean, you could change out because they're G14 threaded fittings. Yeah. You could get your own fittings if you wanted. If you really wanted to customize this, you really can.
Yeah. Looks like a nice set of compression fittings that are on it, though.
Yeah, they were really nice. I mean, I don't have as much experience as you do, But obviously, I have a handful of AIOs here, and I mean, none of them have those fittings.
No, the standard fitting that comes with the AIOs they're often plastic, and they're often a really thin tubing, or small diameter tubing, and so the flow rate suffers from that.
Yeah.
This looks like is this half inch? Looks like it could be half inch.
I'm not specifically sure.
Okay.
But I think that's one interesting thing with this. And then secondly is that the fan hub is on the radiator, and we also talked about this previously. Yeah. And it is cool because you don't have a bunch of cables coming from the pump block assembly to connect the fans, which you do on almost every other AIO.
Yeah.
But we talked about that, when we do have all those wires coming, we put them around the backside of our motherboard, and they're out of the way, so it doesn't really bother us. With this, these wires are going to be on the outside. Like it's more difficult to hide them this way.
Yeah.
And then secondly,
forces them to be inside the case.
Secondly, is that this fan hub is only for the 2 fans. So if I wanted to do a push pull or something, I'd have to connect my fans a different way.
Yeah, or get splitters, but either way, it's not supported with this. What are we looking at with the? So it's actually got 3 headers. Is the one power?
Yes.
So then that looks like it runs into the fitting.
Yes.
And then it runs like under the sleeving to the pump itself.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. So one of the fittings that's connected there is slightly cut.
Yeah. And
they run the cable up through there. Huh. It is cool because they're trying to clean up the wire mess, which I like.
Yeah, totally.
It's
that's the only real way to do this with the hub there. It just if you were gonna go and do something like we were talking about, like install your own fittings or change the tubing length, obviously you're gonna have to abandon that fan hub on the radiator as well.
That's a good point. I really didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So those are the 2, I would say, things that are different.
Pretty unique, yeah.
With this. Thirdly, around the pump block is a piece of sort of like rubberized, kind of like rubber, I guess, to help with sound as well. So this is very quiet.
It looks nice too.
5-year warranty, which is pretty nice as well. So, but besides that, it's pretty much a basic AIO. So it's made by Asetek, who makes all of them, or a good handful of them.
80% probably.
There's no software control, which is a big deal for me. I mean, we've talked about this previously.
Yeah, we really want to see software control on these.
There's no lights. There's no flash.
There's no lights.
Nothing.
Man, kind of seems like a missed opportunity.
So it puts it in that category of the plain Jane AIO, right? Because we do have we have the Corsairs, and those are the 2 that come to mind: Corsair and NZXT, which both are backed up by software and both have lights on them as well, which you can control. And I would say those are in a much higher category than this. But if you're looking for a plain Jane AIO, this does quite well. It performs pretty much on the same par as the NZXT Kraken X52, which is basically the same
as the X62 and the.
Well, these 2, the Celsius S24 and the X52, I believe, are the exact same thing.
Oh,
they're both made by pump and radiator.
Right.
They're both 240 millimeter radiators, and these are very, very close. But again, to directly compare them, this doesn't have software. This doesn't have. I mean, the cool RGB infinity mirror. You don't have that.
Yeah, they went with like the more hardcore water cooling thing.
Yeah, but again, this is much cheaper.
Is it?
Yes, this is about $40 cheaper.
Okay, and it kind of lets you go the hardcore enthusiast route.
Yes. So it's kind of about what you want with this. I can't say this is a bad cooler by any means, because it performs well. It's well made. There's good quality. And again, the things that they thought out are pretty cool. But again, I just want software control for my pump and for my fans. And I know that the fans support PWM, and they support being able to be controlled by your motherboard. So you can set the fan curve on most motherboards for your CPU fan header. Yes, I know I can do that. But I want software that can
that's
monitor
the same thing.
the temperature of the liquid. I want to be able to effectively change the pump speed separately from the fans.
BIOS either.
Yeah, and a lot of motherboards software does allow you to do it within Windows, but some don't.
If it works.
Yeah, if it works too. So I think this just puts it in that lower category than, say, a Corsair or an NZXT cooler. I think
it puts it in a different category. It's a less convenient version.
Yeah.
For sure.
But it is, like I said, it's a good cooler. It does its job, and it's made quality materials, and it's very quiet. So it is in terms of being quiet, it's quieter than the NZXT. It's much quieter than the Corsair H100, which to me sounded like it was about to take off.
I think that's most of the fans in that one.
Yeah, and the H100i is 3 years old, so
Yeah. Is it 3?
Yeah.
And time flies.
Yeah, because you reviewed it 3 years ago. So those are the ones that I had here. But like I said, it is a good AIO, and it's cool to see something different because we see the typical same things. Like you said, the same plastic kind of fittings, the smaller tubing. Like, it's nice to see different things that don't involve flash, because that's what NZXT did, was put the Infinity Mirror on there, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But this is good.
There's a fine line between doing something different and then doing something different that's not better.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yes.
Which, I don't know, I guess this could be better depending on who you are.
Yeah. I think
saves you a bunch of money, too.
If you're looking for just the kind of, the normal AIO, you don't want software control, you don't need lights, this is a great choice for you. And it's quiet. That's a big thing these days, too. It's quiet.
I'd really like to see somebody get the 360 millimeter version and put a GPU block and a reservoir in it, because, overall, the design, the dark theme, is really nice.
Yeah, I like it.
And I'd like to see how well it handles, having to do that much more work.
Yeah, it would be very interesting to see that, because, like I said, you can do that with this one, and that's another thing that this one offers that other ones don't. So it kind of simplifies your loop a little bit, because you don't need a pump separate from the CPU block. So exactly,
it's neat. It's convenient in that way for a more custom loop. Yeah, that'd be cool to see somebody do that.
Yeah, it's something that maybe we'll see. It was just released this past week. So yeah, I could. I mean, I'd have to get a GPU block, but yeah, and a bunch of fittings and all that,
and figure out how to water cool.
Yeah, figure out how to properly water cool, but I can definitely do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we will. We're gonna move on from that review to our final one, which is which I'm sitting in right now, which is the Tesoro Zone Balance gaming chair. And these chairs have been popular for quite a while now. Gaming is such a big thing, and these gaming chairs are kind of designed like a racing chair that you would find in a sports car. And they're made to offer more comfort and obviously look cool, and to be better for you if you're sitting in your, sitting if you're doing any type of sitting, whether you're gaming, whether you're just doing work or whatever. It's supposed to be more comfortable. And in all honesty, I thought these were such a gimmick. You see them and you're like, why do I need that? I'll just have my normal office chair. But after using this, I'm quite impressed, to be honest. It is a really comfortable chair. It's a totally different feel from being in a office chair. And at home I had a really nice office chair, and at the office we have Herman Miller really nice office chairs.
really expensive.
Yeah. And this is so much better. It actually helps you sit up correctly. Whereas, at least in my opinion, most office chairs allow you to kind of slouch, and this does not. It also has proper lumbar support for your back, and it has the head pillow as well, so you're not leaning back. It's really nice and very comfortable. The armrests go up and down, so you can get the best adjustment for what you're doing. It's really nice.
Reading your review, that's the only thing that I kind of was questioning. It doesn't seem like it has some adjustability, but not to the extent that most of those office chairs have.
That is correct. But I really don't think you need that much with this, because you basically, when you're sitting in here, the only thing that you need to really adjust would be like if you want to lean back or not. You know?
Okay.
Because you can move the back lumbar support up and down. Obviously, you can take the top pillow off if you want. You can move the chair up and down if you want, and then you can move the armrests up and down, and you could like kind of like change the angle of them as well. So
okay. What are the armrests? They just look plastic.
Yeah, they're pretty they're plastic.
Oh, okay.
And this is, while it looks like leather, it's not leather. It's fake leather. But I think it does the job, and I think, like, again, I'm still using it, because if it wasn't comfortable, I would have gone back to my old office chair. Mm-hmm. And I'm still using it. I'm sitting in it right now. It's very comfortable. You know, when I'm really like doing a lot of work, say I'm like writing a review, I move the back lumbar support like up to like halfway to my back, so I'm really sitting up straight, and it's a totally different feel. Like when you sit in this, it's completely different than a normal office chair, completely. So I was really impressed. Like my whole thing with this review was like, is this really a gimmick? Like, why am I buying one of these when I can get an office chair?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it seems like they're basically just, the idea is to just bank off of that kind of that gaming thing, you know, right? Like,
yeah, oh yeah,
this is a quote gaming chair,
yeah,
but it's
no,
really just a regular chair with some brighter aesthetics.
Yeah, with for me, the design and feel is completely different than an office chair. And I like that. And I like being able to, if I want to sit completely up straight and be like I can do that. With an office chair, I really can't. Office chairs are more like relaxed. Like they're made to make you feel relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, they're made to be sat in for 8 hours straight.
And while that like that feels comfortable, that's not really good for you. It's not good for your back. It's not good for your posture. With this, I can be completely sitting up in this, and it's actually really good. And again, you have that back lumbar support that you can actually move up and down. It doesn't always sit at the bottom. You can actually move it. And I really like this. If you are spending any long periods of time in front of a PC, whether you're gaming or not, I would highly suggest one of these chairs. If it's in your budget and you can do it, I would suggest it.
Yeah, what is the budget?
This one is, let me see. I forgot. I think it's
$229.
Is it $229?
Yeah, that's what you got.
Yeah,
it's not that bad. Actually.
Yeah, it's $229. You know, you're probably, for a decent office chair, you're at least going to spend $100. I would say.
I'd actually say more.
Yeah,
office chairs in general, no matter what they are, even if they're the crappiest, like I don't know, Staples chair that you can find, they're still in the $100 or something for the most part.
Yeah. So I would highly suggest this. I would, in my opinion, it offers much more than your typical office chair does, and it has the proper support that's adjustable as well, and that's one thing that I like.
I'd be curious to see you compare it against other quote gaming chairs, right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that I have another one here that I'll be reviewing soon. So we will have you know, a different company, a different, you know, different gaming chair.
Yeah, that's totally
and we'll see which one does better. And if there's a difference, if they're all the same, because a lot of these, and anything in general, we see it all the time, just like we talked about with the cooler, they're all could be made by the same company, right?
Yeah.
You know, so it's about, you know, like I said, I'll have to see. I haven't even opened that chair or put it together, so I can't tell you how different it is. But I mean, they're all based on that same design. They're all based on that racing type seat thing.
Yeah, which is funny because in general, racing seats in cars are not comfort oriented.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So when I sat in this the first time, I'm like, this is not comfortable. Like when I first sat in it, because I'm so used to an office chair, but you know, I just continued to use it, and I really liked it. Like I was at first, like when I first sat down, I was like, this is stupid. Why, you know? But as I used it, and as I got used to the feel, and actually how I felt better after I got out of the chair, that was a big thing for me.
Right. Yeah. No, that is the biggest thing.
Yeah, because like I know times where I'd be gaming for a very long time, and I would get out of my chair, and like my back would really hurt, and it would like be hard to get out of the chair. And with this, I don't have that, which I like. So,
cool. So yeah, and also I think that, you know, you're getting more of them, which is good, because for the most part, with this sort of thing, we have to depend on user reviews, and that's just some guy's opinion, not like an objective review of this one compared to this one compared to this one.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, ultimately, it's these most user reviews on like Amazon or something. They some people put some good time into doing them, but like they're so unobjective for the most part.
Yes.
So I'm very curious to see as time goes on what you have to say about all of them.
Yeah. So I'll at least have one more, which I have here, and that will be coming in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see if there's a difference, see if they're the same, see how it is.
And there's a huge price differences in them too. So
yeah, I mean, this one is $239. I think the lowest you could probably get one is $199.
Okay.
For some of them, and then you could go up to $600 probably.
Yeah.
For a lot of them. So yeah, there's a big price range in these as well. So hopefully we get more in, so we can really tell you guys like what the difference and how one here that's $239 compares to one that's maybe $399 or something like that. Kind of give you an idea of what's the best route to go, or if they're all the same or whatever. That's only something we can tell you as we get them in. So
yes.
So it's exciting. It was a different review, too. I mean, obviously, we're used to reviewing computer hardware, so this is something different. But this is something we use just as much as our mouse and keyboard, so it's very important, I feel.
It feels like it falls in line with our gaming side of things.
Though. Yes, for sure. So definitely check out the review. If you're, like I said, if you're doing any long sitting at a computer, and it doesn't have to be gaming related, it can be video editing, it could be just writing, it could be just
any number of things, really.
This is I would highly recommend it.
Cool.
So definitely check out that review. And that brings us to Case Mod Friday, which I always say is one of my favorite sections of the website. It's where we feature a builder mod that's been completed in the community. And this one comes from Overclockers UK, and this is one of their pre-built systems that you can actually buy, which is insane. And this is one of the first builds that I've seen in the Fantex Enthoo Elite, which we got to see at CES, and it's like the Rolls Royce of PC cases.
Yeah.
I think the case itself is
like
$1,000. $1,000 case.
I actually want to say it's more than that.
Yeah,
maybe it was that.
It's like it's either $9.99 or $8.99 or something like that. It's an insane. But they've literally thought out everything with this case, like everything you could imagine.
Like, several cases together into this case.
Yeah, it's insane. So this build is done inside there, and
it's so big. Like it's so big.
Yeah, it's
seriously
massive. Yeah,
you can't overstate how big this thing is. It's got to be like 3 feet high. At least
I would say it's one of the biggest cases out there.
Yeah, there are bigger cases, but they're usually stacked modules.
Yeah, this thing is made for water cooling.
Yeah.
Just the case in itself is a masterpiece, and then Overclockers UK built a 6 system inside. High-end desktop X99, all custom water cooling with hard tubing. That's quite a long section of hard tubing, I would say, that comes right out of the CPU block. And then I believe they have dual 1080s in there, which are water cooled as well. Blue and I would say silver and black color design in this. And it just works really well. And what's crazy is that you can buy this.
I'm curious how much. What are they charging for it?
A lot. Quite a lot. I can imagine it's a lot. I mean, just based on the hardware that's in there, and the case itself is, if the case itself is around $1,000, plus you have X99 system with
U.2.
Yeah, and then you have the Samsung U.2 in there, dual 1080s, all custom water cooled, all hard tubing. This is gonna cost you a lot. It's gonna be a 6 system for sure, but it's gonna cost you a lot.
Probably in like the $4,000 range.
Yeah, something like that.
I really like the riser, or whatever you want to call it, the angle adapter for the U.2.
It's not an angle adapter, which is interesting. Because I saw that too, and I wasn't that familiar with this motherboard. But this is one of
standard like install.
Yeah, but they put the backplate on it.
Oh, okay.
but or at least I believe they put that backplate on it. But the this motherboard, the M.2, goes straight up like that. Isn't that interesting?
Huh. I
believe this is one of the first motherboards with that M.2 because this is the X99 Deluxe.
Okay.
And I believe that came out early X99 days. So
is it M.2 or is it U.2?
It's M.2.
Okay. So it's not even. See, I figured because it was on the side there that it was U.2.
It's an M.2.
Huh. Okay. It's too old for U.2.
Yes. Well, there is a U.2 right below it if you look.
Is there?
Yeah. At least that's what I think that connection is. But yeah, this board was quite interesting because this is one of the first implementations of M.2 because X99 was the first platform that I believe had it. And this board, there's so much components on this board that they didn't have a lot of room. Even if you look at the U.2s, they go out. They don't go out the side. They go out like
they go straight up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an interesting how they have that all there. I don't know, but yeah, it is. Yeah, but this build is just sick. I would love to have this system.
Gotta find this thing on their website.
Yeah, they have a bunch of different versions of it. With a bunch of different components. I don't even know if this one's available yet because of the case.
Yeah.
But I know they built it, obviously. But they have a lot of different things. So if you are in the UK, I'm sure you've heard of overclockers.uk. They're like a huge...
It used to just be a forum.
Yes. And they've turned into a very large online place where you can buy components, you can buy full systems. They have, I believe that's like their modder is 8-pack, I believe.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he's like their in-house. They do a lot.
Like design guy.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of like modding, but they do like a lot of custom ordered stuff with like custom, labels or insignias and stuff like that. So
yeah, so really cool stuff.
Stuff from them.
Yeah, definitely check out this build. I think it's sick. Probably one of the more expensive builds we've seen, just based on the case.
Yeah, they have up to 12,000. Yeah, it's not in their store, but they have up to 12,000 euro cases in there, and I'm sure that this is going to be up towards that.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, definitely check that out. And we have a full section of case mods that you can browse through and see pretty much everything from the past 3 years we've covered. So, or maybe even longer than that. So that brings us to news, and so much AMD news this week. I think just all this leading up to Computex, it's going to be a lot of AMD stuff. So first, AMD Vega 10 3D Mark results, and these are 3D Mark Firestrike. So the ones we saw before were Time Spy, and now we have Firestrike, and these were pretty much around 1070 results, so right around there. Again, that leads us to believe that we'll have a bunch of different SKUs for Vega, and they'll compete with current generation NVIDIA cards. So I guess it's a good thing. It's just, I know we want that super high-end card, but I think they're going to at least cut that chip down quite a lot to fit into the different segments. So yeah, but yeah, I know you're not that excited.
No. It's just been week after week of like.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like we just want an announcement. We'll definitely talk about that because I think we have at least a confirmed date of an announcement, which will be nice. Yeah. But the next thing is that Linux drivers have suggested that Vega could be dual GPU, or there'll be, at least might be a Vega SKU that's dual GPU and liquid cooled.
They'd be really smart to release the dual at the same time.
You think at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just come right out with it.
Yeah, I think that would,
because it'll actually be a winning part.
Yeah, and because that's the biggest thing is like it's all about the headlines, and it'll be like the fastest single card out there.
Yeah.
So I think based on looking at the code here that's in the drivers, it says temperature limit liquid 1, temperature limit liquid 2. So I assume we're gonna see a liquid cooled version of a Vega card. whether it's a dual GPU or not, we're not sure, but we're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that it has Liquid 1 and Liquid 2. But it could be two performance settings too, different performance settings. So
yes. And then the second thing that points it to a dual GPU card is there's a lookup table, and it says temperature limit PLX, and a PLX chip is the ASIC chip that connects the two GPUs. And a lot of people's thinking in this is that when you're using that ASIC chip, it gets hot.
Certainly.
It generates heat like anything else, and this lookup table would be a set fan curve for when that chip gets a certain temperature. That's what people are thinking. So that'd be cool. I would like to see, like you said, just come out with it. Don't tease it. Don't do anything. Let's just have it. And I think so many people are ready for Vega anyways. We're like, just give it to us. It's ready. Like, you know.
Well, they already have their big build up this year.
I mean, we saw it in action at CES.
Yeah, I literally.
And that was January. That was the first week of January, and you know we're getting almost to Computex now, so that's a long time.
Mm-hmm. And it was just we had to deal with so much hype from the Ryzen thing, so many leaks from the Ryzen thing, and it's like, all right, AMD, you've had your time.
Yeah, I think especially when I would say graphics card enthusiasts are much more demanding than CPU enthusiasts, I would say.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion. So I think a lot of people are just ready for it. They just want it, and hopefully at Computex we'll get at least I would hope an announcement with a release date. But if it's just an announcement and not a release date, it'd be bad for AMD. But But talking about the release of Vega, new rumors say that Vega could launch with as little as 20,000 units, and this is based on the speculation of low availability of HBM2. It's just a rumor, but that would
direct from Tweaktown, right?
Yeah, direct from Tweaktown, who say they have an exclusive industry source. And Tweaktown's been good on their leaks in the past. I mean, that could be pretty bad for AMD.
20,000 is not very many.
That's like, and if that's like a worldwide figure, I mean, you
allocate to make any money.
Yeah, or anything. So we'll see. And it could be true. I mean, we really don't know about the yields of HBM2 and the availability and what's kind of that. So, yeah. It's like things are just not looking good for AMD. Again, still talking about AMD. They are having a very big meeting on May 16th, which is in 2 days. And this is a big meeting of the higher-ups. So, CEO Lisa Su, head of the Radeon Technologies Group, Raja Koduri, AMD CTO, Mark Papermaster, and I'm sure some other high-end people, and they'll be discussing the vision for the future of the company, and hopefully we'll get some like leaks out of this. That's what a lot of people are thinking. Something will come out of this, or we'll have more of an understanding of where things are going, and maybe get some information on the Zen refresh, which a lot of people are calling Zen Plus, and possibly some information on Navi, which is the GPU architecture that will come after Vega. So maybe we'll get some information on both of those that will come out of this meeting somehow. So it'll be interesting to see what their plans are for Zen and the refresh and all that. I think for me that's more interesting than the GPU stuff.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So but we'll see.
I don't really want to see a Zen refresh, but I guess that's what it's got to be because it's AMD.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not gonna be a whole new architecture, and it's gonna come a year after, so you're not gonna get, it's just gonna be. I mean, Intel does the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see, but that's gonna happen in 2 days. So if anything comes out of that's leaked or that becomes public information, we will be sure to let you know. And then this is what we talked about: is that AMD has confirmed a press conference for Computex. So they sent out a memo that says it's a save the date, and it is scheduled for May 31st from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And by all accounts, this has to be the announcement of Vega, right? If they don't announce it at Computex, I don't know. I feel that, as we talked about, we've waited around and waited around and waited around, and this has to be it.
Kind of seems like they haven't made a big enough deal about their presence at Computex, though.
Yeah, I don't know if they're like trying to make it like, oh, we're here, and then boom, it's a big thing. But like everybody knows, like if you've been following anything, like you know that Vega is what they're there for.
If they're there to talk about anything but Vega, nobody cares.
Yeah, like nobody cares about your driver stuff or anything or any other things that you talk about. And I'm sure if they do the Vega announcement, they'll talk about everything else except for Vega, and then talk about Vega last, anyways. So we'll see. But I believe we don't have confirmation yet, but I believe this press conference will be streamed live, so you'll be able to watch it. And if it is, we'll let you know where you'll be able to watch it. I'm sure I will be watching it, so we can see, you know, what the deal is, what the cards are, what the prices are, what the availability is, what the performance is. Like, I would hope they would outline everything in the press conference. It's only an hour, so I don't know how long. If it's just Vega, I would say an hour is good if they want to go over everything.
Yeah,
you know, because if they're going to launch it, they're going to have at least 3 SKUs. They have to go over all 3 SKUs, performance of each one, but
in
technology
detail. Yeah,
you know, that's what I would. If I'm launching Vega, that's what I want to do. So an hour is just about enough time for that, I would say.
Yeah, or it's just like a last minute, we forgot to go to Computex.
Yeah, so we'll see. But that's when it is, and we'll let you know if what the live link is to watch. So that we'll have that. But on a more positive note for AMD, since like everything else is bad so far. On a positive note, they will be releasing a microcode update for Ryzen. So the biggest issue that we talked about when Ryzen launched was the compatibility, memory compatibility. So this microcode update will help with memory compatibility. I believe it adds, I forget how many more memory compatibility. So a bunch of new kits will be
what's this, 20 new registers?
Yeah, 20 new registers. Yeah. You know, so a lot. This is good. So if you're rocking Ryzen, this will be released as a BIOS update through your motherboard manufacturer. Get the latest BIOS update. This should help with compatibility. And if you're a new user or thinking about buying Ryzen, when you get your motherboard, be sure to update the BIOS. That should be the first thing that you can do. And you, at least on most motherboards, you should be able to update the BIOS without even having to install memory in your system. So you should be able to do that.
You know, the downside to this is that now you've got first-time builders kind of probably turned off a little bit to buying Ryzen because they're going to have to do a BIOS update, what's a BIOS update, right? When you're a first-time user.
That's very true. I know.
that sounds scary.
Yeah. Because a lot of these motherboards, you know, are sitting, you know, in a storage somewhere, and they obviously they're loaded with whatever BIOS when they were shipped out. So,
unless you're buying something that's a new board.
Yeah, that would come with this. So I like that though. I like that they're aggressively addressing this issue. You know what I mean? That's what I talked about. I said the platform needs to mature, and this is part of it. So, you know, it's good. I think it's a good thing. So, if you are a current Ryzen user, get the latest BIOS update. It will have a microcode update. Cool. And that would bring us to Intel. And it looks like Intel, this seems so fast, but obviously this is because of Ryzen, is that Intel could launch their Core i7 7740K at E3, which is June 12th, which seems so fast.
It also seems like an odd venue.
Yeah, it seems like a very odd venue. I don't know if Intel is trying to capitalize on the whole gaming thing, because obviously Ryzen, even though the gaming performance isn't there, when they announced Ryzen and showed it off, it was made. They said it was made for enthusiasts and gamers. Obviously, Intel's chips are kind of like for everybody. You know what I mean? Not just gamers. But the big thing is that Intel is the lead sponsor of the PC gaming show, which is kind of on the sidelines of E3. Like, it's held at E3. It's all PC gaming, and they're the heads, like the lead sponsor of that. So that's what a lot of people think that's why. And this is the X2. So this is so weird, and we had been talking about this for a long time. Is that with the i7 7740K, it's going to be a new chipset, X299, which will eventually be the high-end desktop chipset as well.
Yeah.
But the i7 7740K will be a quad-core processor. It's not the high-end desktop processor that you're thinking about, because those will be 6, 8, 10, and possibly a 12-core from what we've heard. But these will all use a new socket, LGA 2066. But but these chips will not have the integrated graphics. So
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of what we wanted, because none of us enthusiasts use the integrated graphics.
Yeah,
I don't see anybody that's buying a 7700K, a 6700K to use the integrated graphics. So,
nope.
Yeah. But the thing I like about this is that the X299 boards, this will be a whole slew of new motherboards with a whole slew of new features, which I love.
Much more gaming centric too.
Yes, and we'll see. You thought you saw crazy RGB with the Z270. Yeah. You're really gonna see it now. You're really gonna see motherboard manufacturers go all out. So
yeah.
And the thing is this is very fast. This is not the typical upgrade cycle for Intel. So it kind of seems reactive, which I kind of like.
Yeah, no, this is great.
Yeah, so
not gonna buy it, but this is great.
Yeah, so that brings us to NVIDIA, and they announced. You should be pretty excited about this. Because this is the whole start of the next generation, is they announced this past week. Yeah, this past week was their GTC. That's the GPU Technology Conference It's held by NVIDIA every year, where they basically talk about all the new NVIDIA technologies, not just hardware, but all the software stuff. They actually announced some really cool VR stuff at the show as well. But they announced their Tesla V100. So this is their GPU accelerator, made for super high-end enterprise, and this thing is huge. I saw pictures of it, and it is so the die is massive. It is 850 millimeters squared. So that's compared to the 610 of the P100 last year. But the big thing what this means, and I know this isn't that exciting for a lot of us consumers, is that this is the start of Volta. So this is based off the Volta architecture, and this is how Pascal started with the P100. Same thing. So you get the enterprise accelerator, and then the consumer cards will be cut out of.
We just wait for the trickle down.
Yeah, so it will trickle down. So this is the start of it. This is your HBM2 that you've wanted.
Yeah. We'll see if they keep it HBM2.
Yeah, it'll be very, very interesting to see. This chip on the accelerator has 5,120 CUDA cores, which is a lot.
It's a few.
Yeah, so quite a lot on there.
So this thing can crunch some numbers?
Yeah, this thing can really do a lot. And again, this specific product is made for supercomputer, really crunching the numbers, if you want to call it that. But again, this is the start, and it's a big deal, I think. So we have it. It's here. Volta is here.
It'll be like the grandfather of what we actually get. It's the predecessor.
Yeah, and it's built. What I did mention, it's built on the 12 nanometer process, so that's down from the 16 that was used on Pascal. So we're getting down there again.
Getting way down there.
Yeah,
getting down to the theoretical limit.
Yes. So this just means we have Volta coming in the future. So it's exciting. And we were talking about the next generation X299 stuff, And MSI, this makes me believe that we could see the E3 launch because MSI has teased the motherboard that we're pretty much under the impression that it is an X299 board. The picture that they teased shows the bottom section of the board, which shows 4 PCI Express 3.0 X16 slots, which points to high end. 3 M.2 slots, which again points to higher end because you need the available PCI Express lanes. And it just says best motherboard ever. And I see RGBs.
Yeah, some RGBs.
Yeah,
some shielded PCI Express slots.
Yeah, so it's if we're seeing this already, this just gives me. I would say we're gonna see X299 sooner than later.
Yeah, no, it'll probably come with that Intel announcement at E3.
Yes, so very cool, and looks like a cool board too. So. At least from
it looks interesting. Nice dark theme.
Yeah, I like
Black
it. Black
PCB.
I think like my motherboards are my favorite piece of hardware. I would say.
Yeah, you've said that before, and I think they are. You get excited every time.
Yeah, there's so much on them, and it's cool to see what they do. But also talking about MSI, they did something really cool. At least I think it's cool. I mean, I know this is kind of like, why do we need this? This is like, but. If you do rock a lot of RGBs, this is kind of cool. So MSI has teamed up with SteelSeries and allowed RGB control through the SteelSeries app, which is SteelSeries Engine 3, which for gaming is one of like the most in-depth and really, really good management software for gaming accessories. So what they've allowed you to do is match the RGBs on your gaming keyboard or your gaming mouse with the RGBs on a MSI motherboard, which is the Z270 Gaming Carbon or Gaming Pro Carbon. And what's really cool about this software, you can, again, you've had the ability to do this for a while, but like you can like add your games in, and then based on what's going on in the game, the RGBs will change.
Yeah.
So
now it can change your entire system's lighting. Yeah.
So this includes the RGBs that are on the board as well as the RGB headers. So it's pretty cool. But what the biggest thing is, this is the first time that you can control all of the RGBs in your system with a single application.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Kind of something we've been asking for, not necessarily RGB, but we really like this simplification of control programs.
Yeah, and I do have to say again, the SteelSeries engine is good. It's very, very good. So to see, I think that MSI probably, or I don't know how the partnership came about or how it went, but I can assume that MSI really liked the SteelSeries engine and what they were doing with RGBs on the keyboard and mice. So they kind of were like, we'll give you access and allow it to work on our motherboards. And I think currently it's only with this board.
That's odd.
Yeah, well, I think this might have been like a test.
Okay.
To see, and hopefully they'll expand it, and maybe we'll see SteelSeries partner with other motherboard manufacturers as well. Maybe.
I'm sure we'll see, if not SteelSeries, somebody else doing it.
Yeah, but it's cool because, like I said, we have all these. I have an RGB keyboard in front of me. I have an RGB mouse. They're made by different companies. I can't sync them. And then if I had RGBs in my system, the same thing. So it's nice that one fluid application that syncs all of my RGBs and they all do the same thing, or they do what I want them to do. So I don't have to open 3 different apps to control my RGBs.
And then you're still not going to get them right.
Yeah, exactly. It's still not be. So that's cool. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is also another interesting story. So Microsoft Build Conference was this past week, and they announced that they'll be distributing Linux through Windows 10.
Which sounds like it's not very helpful to Microsoft.
Well, there's right. Caveats with this.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to get the popular distributions. So Ubuntu, Fedora, SUSE, and maybe a couple others. And you'll be able to run them on a virtual machine inside of Windows.
Yeah.
So basically, from what we understand, you won't have access to the ISO. and you won't be able to install it on a partition, so you can't dual boot.
Yeah.
But this will allow you to run Linux within Windows 10 and kind of mess around with it. I think that's super cool. I think that's, one, if you're somebody wants to learn Linux, but, you're just like a newbie, dual booting is confusing.
Yeah, but you can run Linux off a flash drive.
You can. But again, I think this is go to the Windows Store, install it, I can run it.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes the process easier for newbies or things like that.
I think that it streamlines the process in your head, but in actuality, it doesn't really do anything new. But what it does do is that it keeps Windows relevant.
Yes. And I think it's one thing that was pointed out is that this is great for schools that are teaching Linux or something like that, because they can run Linux within Windows. They don't have to set up all these PCs to boot. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, that saves them time there. But...
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's interesting, and
Yeah, I don't trust it because it's Windows.
Yeah, but I think it's cool.
Windows is just trying to build everything into itself.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Point, so.
Because it's just gonna be a service. Windows will be a service. So yeah. But I mean,
I think this is just Windows' best attempt at capturing those Linux users that they can.
Yes, for sure.
Because aside from this, you gotta install on your own partition. So.
Yeah, install your own partition or boot from a flash drive. So again, I think it simplifies the process to an extent. It's great for teachers and people who all their PCs at the school are running on Windows 10 and they can just easily do this.
It's great for any admin that has to run a program that's Linux based that doesn't necessarily want to run a Linux environment too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like it. So there's that, and then we have two gaming stories. One is no surprise. I think we talked about this last year when it was released as well. But EA released their FY 2017 results, so that's their earnings from April 1st, 2016 to March 31st, 2017. And it shows that EA makes more money off extra content. So microtransactions in DLC, so like the season passes and things like that, than the sale of than anything else.
Yeah.
So then more of the sale of their full games, and all of that. So in they made 1.27 billion.
1.297.
Or 1.297
1,297 million.
Yes, off of microtransactions. And I think, again, we talked about this last year, I believe, and it's just that's the nature of gaming. These companies have found out that they can make money by releasing DLC. And I don't know if
they
this
have massive growth, though, year to year, even on the base game sales.
Yes.
In fact, they grew less from last year to this year. They did in post-sale content, extra content sales.
Yeah,
a smaller increase over the full game download, which is interesting.
I think it just shows that games.
I think that they're making their money there because that's where they think the most money is to be made. Not that necessarily gamers want to buy content that way. It's just that that's the way games are sold now. If you want the whole game, nobody sells you the whole game at launch, right?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. It's like, here's the first couple of chapters, sort of, and those chapters, the game doesn't really work most of the time either, because it's just broken because we didn't finish it. Give us a couple months, and we'll sell you some more parts of the game that you should have already had, that like 5 years ago you would have already had.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll probably patch it a bunch too, because it's not done.
I think the big thing, especially this past year too, is like the season pass thing has become like a thing.
Yeah.
And the season pass gets you the game, gets you it gets you all the DLCs or something.
Yeah.
or whatever, and you pay. I don't know how much you pay for it, but yeah, and it's just like the
monthly
game.
on it, yeah.
You know, the games as a service deal as well. You know, you pay a monthly fee.
Yeah.
For access to it's just like, but that's the nature of the beast these days. I think any game, whether you like the publisher or not, even smaller studios are doing DLC because it's a revenue stream, and it's it keeps their games relevant too, because when you add new DLC, people are going to want to play it because it's more content for the game. So
absolutely. We used to always have expansions, and there was nothing wrong with that. But now they don't sell you the whole game anymore. You're still giving them $60 for whatever game, and it's not the whole game.
Exactly.
And that's obnoxious to me. Yeah.
So, well, that's just like I said. It's the nature of the beast, and that's kind of how it goes. But it's a lot of money.
Yeah, we don't have any choice in the matter. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. So, on to our last news story, which is also a gaming story, is that Quake Champions will be having a large-scale test that started 2 days ago on May 12th, and it's going to run through the 21st. That's a long test time. And as long as you signed up on the website, you should have access. This is a very large-scale test. So a few weeks ago, they had the closed beta, which I had the chance to participate in, and it's a fun game, very fast-paced game, and
that's why you're trying to get us all to play the open beta. You've already been in the closed beta.
Yeah,
I see now.
But
good at it.
I'm good at games in general. So, you just go, if you haven't, we have a link in our article to the website where you can sign up and get it. It's a lot of fun. It's very fast paced. It's like one of those games where it's like you can't just like run around. It's very, very fast paced, and I like it so far. And it's that old school Quake feel, man. It's cool, and I like it. So
good.
So yeah, you should download it. We should play. All of us should play.
I did that an hour ago.
You played the game?
I downloaded it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a very slow download. Yeah,
probably because you're getting crushed right now, I assume.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
I would guess that it was around like 4 to 5 megs.
That's pretty slow.
Yeah.
But in any case, get on Quake, man. It's a long test. Like I said, it's through the 21st, so it's a lot of time to play and kind of get used to it. And I'm not sure. I can't remember if this will be a free game then you can buy content after, or it's going to be what's the Blizzard game called? It's going to be like Overwatch, where you pay $60 for the game. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know how they're going to do that one.
Yeah, but I like it that these games are coming back into being popular, because I'm just not a fan of the MOBA games. I'm just not.
Yeah.
But a fast-paced, arena-based shooter type style game that has some of the MOBA aspects, as like picking a hero and the hero has different abilities. I like that. But I want to shoot things. I don't want to kill people. And I don't want to do it with like a little character that I move around. I want to be.
Yeah. How come you haven't tried? Have you played Overwatch?
Yes.
I assume you would have liked that too, then.
Yeah, I do like it. I just haven't had a lot of time to play it. But I do like Overwatch. I have played it. So pretty excited for Quake Champions. Get on it. Hit us up on Facebook if you want to play. We should have at least a couple nights of the test that all of us should get on and play. I think
we should try. Never works, but we should.
It never works, but we should try. Yes. So that brings us to next week, guys, and we have 3 cool reviews. And Derek is back on the review game, so he is checking out Cherry's MX Board Silent. What's that all about?
It's a mechanical keyboard that looks like your old, like IBM beige keyboard. It's a modern mechanical keyboard with old school aesthetics.
Nice. And this uses their silent switches.
And it does. It uses this specific one has the Cherry MX Silent Reds, I believe is the wording.
Okay.
Like everything Cherry does, their wording's a little bit odd, but
yes.
Yeah. So it's basically a full red switch that doesn't make noise. So.
Is that weird?
It's a bit disappointing.
Well, yeah, yes, I would say.
It's probably nice for other people though.
Yeah,
people around you.
I think that's the reason why I haven't brought a mechanical keyboard into like the office downtown is because I feel it would be very loud.
Yeah, like this would be a good option for you if you like reds, of course, because it still, of course, feels like reds.
Okay,
so
that's nice.
Which isn't, it's not a blue. It's not the most. The actuation isn't the most. How do you say that?
Like pronounced.
Yes, exactly. It's not the most pronounced actuation to begin with. But yeah, it feels better. It feels like the sliding motion of a mechanical switch still.
Without
it doesn't
click.
feel like a dome switch. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of these hybrid dome switches,
Yeah.
People trying to do this without making it mechanical. And it doesn't feel like that.
I think that's a good idea. I think even this keyboard that I have in front of me, which is it's the optical switch, they could do like a silent version as well, because this has everything that a mechanical switch has in it, just to have that feel. Mm-hmm. But if they took the thing that makes the actual click out of this, I think it would be the same type of feel.
Yeah, just put a damper in it instead, or a bumper or something.
Yeah, so that's cool. Be interesting to see your review and how you liked it.
Yeah.
And then I'll be taking a look at Corsair's Vengeance LED DDR4 memory. And this is their memory that has LEDs in the top. This is not the RGB version, so I have the white version, so it's just white LEDs. But again, Corsair always has great memory, and adding that little bit of flair with the LEDs. And I haven't got into it a whole lot, but I'm not certain, so don't judge me on this. But I'm pretty sure you can actually control the LEDs with the Corsair Link software. I'm not 100% sure.
Even though it's white, you can actually control it.
You can control like pulsing and things. That type of thing. I'm not 100% sure yet. I haven't installed the Link software on the system.
Which kit did you get? Because, man, even some of this Vengeance is really expensive.
I have a 32 gigabytes. I think it's DDR4 3200.
Wow. 16 gig kit? Or 216? 4/8?
4/8.
Okay. It's still it's incredible what memory is at right now.
Yeah. But I believe I haven't announced it yet, but we will be giving away a kit. So I have 2 kits here, and I'm testing one, and we'll be giving away another one on the website.
If you're listening and you want that, understand that if he's right about the kit he's got, it's over a $300 kit. So
yes, I have the kit. I don't know where the box is. The box is. Hold on. Give me a second. I have to stand up.
Okay.
Okay. So yes, it is. 4x 8 gigabyte 32 gigabyte 3200 megahertz. And we have 2 of them, 2 of these kits. So one is being tested right now. The other one hasn't been opened. And that's going to be given away. So
that is a very nice prize to win right there.
Yes. So we'll be doing the contest differently. I haven't gone through all the details, but we'll be doing it through a website called Gleam.io, and they do contests and stuff. So we'll be running it like that, and you'll be able to enter by like tweeting. You'll be able to enter by sharing it on Facebook. You'll be able to enter by sending us your email. Like, you know what I mean? There'll be different ways to enter.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll be launching the contest after the review, so probably this week. So just stay tuned for that. So that's exciting for you guys.
Yeah.
We haven't had a contest in a while, and I wanted to do it correctly, and get it all done. So
cool.
So yeah. So we'll
definitely
have that.
Try to win that kit.
Yes, it's a nice little kit. I forget. Yeah. Memory is expensive. Remember we talked about how the memory and NAND
the production issues.
Yeah, and they're just capitalizing on it.
They certainly are.
Yes, I should have got the 64 gig kit. That's almost $600.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean technically, I have. Yeah.
Well,
but
if you did that, if you ran that in X99.
Yeah, but
you could do that.
Anywho, we'll have that, and then
he's actually giving it away. He didn't talk himself out of it.
Yes. We have. I have the Noctua NH-D15 SE AM4, and so when AM4 launched, Noctua made special editions of their coolers for AM4, and we have all 3 of the new ones, and this is the first one that we're reviewing. This is the big boy. This is the D15. I'm sure if you know Noctua, you know the D15. It's their massive dual tower cooler, and it's going to be interesting to see how it does on Ryzen. These all come with Ryzen ready mounting systems and everything, so If you don't want to do like the AIO game when it comes to Ryzen, and there's been a lot of issues with that with different AIOs and things. Noctua is a great cooling company, and
absolutely.
It's going to be cool to see how these perform. So I have all three here. This is the first review, and we'll be pushing them out over the next few weeks. So
I expect they will do just fine.
Yes, and they should. The biggest thing is install. Noctua has always been really great with their installation, so we'll see how they do with AM4.
Yeah,
when it comes to installation as well.
A new socket here.
Yeah, so
man, I gotta give it to Noctua. They have a great website.
You like it?
Yeah. It feels good. Pictures
it's very
are high quality.
They know what
modern.
they're doing.
It feels modern.
Yeah, it's nice.
A lot of times these air cooler companies don't really go
I think a lot of I wouldn't say Noctua is a massive company. They're on like the mid-range.
I just think they have a good aesthetic choice. I mean, just look at their coolers too, like the lines and the flow of the tubing and everything.
Yeah, they're an Austrian, Austrian
Austria. Yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the European type, thing.
Yeah, aesthetic.
Yeah, so I like it. But yeah, guys, that's what's coming next week. So when we end the podcast here, we talk about if we did anything cool this week. Did you do anything cool?
Especially I raced my bike finally for the first time this year. It went horribly. Don't really want to talk about it. I do want to remind everybody, if I hadn't already, I can't remember, that Silicon Valley is back on.
Yes, I haven't watched it yet at all.
4 tonight, I believe, or tomorrow night. No, wait.
Yeah, today's Sunday.
It's Sunday tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Nice. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. I have some stuff to get done, and obviously today is Mother's Day too. So I want to shout out if there are any mothers listening. You guys do a great job of taking care of us kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
So shout out to all the mothers out there. And for me, I haven't really done much. I watched a new show called American Playboy. It's about Hugh Hefner. It's on Amazon. And it's like like how Netflix has their original. This is like an Amazon original.
Oh yeah, and
it's actually quite good. It's very interesting. And I honestly, obviously every guy knows Playboy. Like of Playboy. If you don't,
no. Describe this for me.
Like of Playboy.
Lots of good articles.
Yes, they. Well, that's the thing is that through this documentary series, it's a 10-episode series starting beginning of Playboy. I guess up until now, I'm not that far yet into it. But it teaches you a lot, and I didn't realize how big of a company they were. Like they were like an empire. Like it's crazy to think. Because now you think like a magazine company, like like you don't think of them as like a massive enterprise type thing.
Like with like arms reaching into other
industry. Yeah. And it's cool to see how Hugh Hefner he started the magazine by himself. And up until I haven't got that far yet, but for the first 10 he edited every issue himself. He was like a workaholic, and it's kind of like the American Dream type story, like of a guy. He had an idea of what he wanted. It's the thing, like all of these apps and things we have now, they solve a problem, right? Like every invention and everything, it solves a problem that hasn't been solved. He wanted a men's magazine with certain things, and there wasn't one out there, so he created it for himself. It's a really cool. If you have Amazon Prime, this is you can watch this for free.
Yeah.
And it's very, very cool. And like I said, it's much more than just watching it for the girls. It's really cool business. It's very business related, and I like it.
I think that anything covering like American industry throughout history, but specifically like 50s, 60s, 70s is just really interesting.
Yeah, and the thing that's really cool about it too is that obviously Playboy was started in the 50s, I think. Yeah, and the first centerfold was Marilyn Monroe, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so but as time went on and things happened in the United States, like how the magazine evolved and all that, it's very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely check it out if you have Amazon Prime. And I think that's really all I've done. Not much of anything else. We did post some new videos on our YouTube page as well. So the review of the Praxis Webbench went up, and I did a behind the scenes of the new office space at home. So if you guys didn't know, I completely redesigned the home office. So I did a little behind the scenes as well, and I think we might have put the EVGA article up as well on the Z270 classified K. So more YouTube content coming out, and we'll have more content this week as well on YouTube. So a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, guys. So definitely just check everything, check all social media. We'll have everything there. And for this podcast, we will have a full show notes page that has links to everything. So everything we talked about, you can click through and read about it. So that brings us to the end of the podcast. Good episode 100. Hopefully we have 100 more of these and we continue this. So I know Derek complains that he doesn't like doing this, but I'm sure he does. So
were you expecting a comment?
Yeah, I was expecting you to say, "Oh no, I really, I hate it."
No, it's really great.
Yeah,
I hate it.
So until next week, guys, we'll catch you later.